After getting pretty shaken up during our shakedown cruise from Les Sables d'Olonne to Quiberon, we had a few days to spend here to stock up on food and get the last boat jobs done before heading out to cross the Bay of Biscay.
Des biscuits?
Oui, ça c'est...
Quel genre de whisky? Chocolate without...
Okay, so the Asian dish is one. I think we might need 2 kilos. The other one maybe 1 kilo.
John, tu veux des grands sacs de chips?
Are you ready to start the journey?
I am so ready to start the journey. Both of us are quite, not only happy, but also a bit nervous. It's really, really interesting because none of us actually knows what the day will look like. Last time we went out, we were seasick as hell. And today, we're gonna spend 2.5 days at sea. We will establish this shift system where each one of us has to take responsibility in the night over 2 hours to make sure we don't crash each other's boats and we take the right decisions for reefing or not to reefing. So this is going to be quite an adventure, and if we both fall seasick in the night, then that's going to be interesting. But oh no, I just can't wait for it to start. I mean, this is the proper start of our freaking adventure. Let's go.
We would have a few hours of calm wind and waves behind Belle-Île before heading out to the high seas with straight course to A Coruña in Spain. Close to shore, we have to look out for fishing boats who have right of way and often move in circles while fishing. Another important thing are the black and yellow buoys called cardinals, indicating danger zones with shallow waters or rocks. The arrows pointing away from each other mean you have to pass it on the eastern side. Our first day crossing the Bay of Biscay was, as we expected, quite rough. The best place to be wasn't bad, despite the noises.
It feels a bit like lying in the back of a truck. It's going over a bumpy road.
That did not keep us from dancing and cooking, at least within the realms of the possible.
So, Nico's puking again. It's 5:10. I'm cooking dinner. Usual conditions, you know. Just stirring some soup. Managed to cut the leeks in the carrots by 20 knots of wind. And John is outside doing his shift. There he is.
So I have a very important point to prove here, and that's that you can cook with fresh ingredients on board. So we have a little soup with bulgur, lemon, and the only cheat thing we used was chicken stock. Hey, just finished my second night shift for today. I had my first one with 26 knots of wind. It was grim out there, but it was probably the best start because I actually saw dolphins. So together with John, we went to the very front and we were hanging out there until I was like almost flying. And there were like minimum 5 dolphins just playing around, and every time they would move their back, you would see like the water blinking bright green with the plankton. And now I second shift for 46 was very calm. There's almost no wind anymore. We did progress slowly, so that's when you start to keep looking for things to do. But the stars are just so beautiful, so I even stayed out with Nico now. Night shifts are good.
The Mayday call is for a boat. I keep hearing it's a lot of Spanish, and I don't speak any Spanish.
Okay.
But I get the word trimaran, so I think it's trimaran. I think possibly the usual problem with trimarans is they capsize in strong winds. It's about 12 miles from here, the position, so I have the position noted.
Okay.
There's a helicopter involved. There's a tanker, a petrochemical tanker involved, and there's a lot of chat in Spanish. It's not clear to me that they have it in hand and whether they would benefit. So if there's somebody in the water, for example, then a helicopter's not enough.
Thank you very much for your kindly cooperation. The situation is under control, so could you proceed with your original voyage? Over.
Souvent c'est marqué sur le voile s'il y a un doute un part longueur. Ok. Cette partie, c'est sur l'enrouleur. Et puis on va passer à l'extérieur. Avant de mettre dans l'enrouleur.
And now it's completely tight.
Tu vas bloquer la ligne de nouvelle place. Il faut le repasser de l'autre côté, le faire sortir de son.
Now that the weather has calmed down a bit, we have time to introduce our crew. This is John, our skipper, always radiating security and competency in his daily briefings. He's not so fond of vegetables though, he calls them compost. And that's Eric, the good soul of the boat, constantly cleaning or fixing something, and a great cook. And there's Guy, a Parisian photographer, who has seen the world and cannot be shaken by anything. We would daily wake up with the smell of toasted bread and coffee, his morning ritual. We were now sailing along the Spanish coast, but after avoiding the heavy winds, We were now trying to escape the upcoming zone of very light winds, which is why we decided not to stop in A Coruña, as originally planned, but sail another day until Baiona.
Yeah, so now we're just before Cap Finisterre at A Coruña. You can hardly see the landscape over there. And unfortunately, since there's absolutely no wind there, we have the mode on to be able to come into Baiona about the start of the day of tomorrow, or even around noon. And yeah.
And that's why we have the time to shoot this video now. Actually, I'm on shift and I'm looking out a bit for orcas because we're getting into the region where there have been orca attacks more frequently in the last month and years. And they attack the rudder. So as soon as we spot any, we have to switch off the engine and just focus. They don't want to play too much with our boat.
We survived sailing along the Costa da Morte. What had died, though, was the wind. Ironically, after weeks of waiting for less stormy conditions, we now faced a dead calm. When can we continue to head south until the Canaries, and finally west towards Martinique?